Hello everybody, it's Darren here, that Tassie Wargamer. I'm here with my good mate John, drinking his mocha.
Sorry.
We're here in southern Tasmania and we've got the go-ahead. Well, we've had it for a while actually, but we're finally managing to get a game in today down in the back room of Good Games. We're expecting it to be busy with lots of Magic the Gathering players and the like, and we have this room to ourselves. So we are playing Sharp Practice, French Indian War, 50 points only because we've got a shortened day today. John's forces. He's got some Highland regulars, some
normal British regulars,
normal regulars, a tribe of Indians,
frontier
skirmishers, and colonial rangers, with 4 officers between them. I have got 2 groups of Indians, each with a leader. Here's our bear. The bear will be coming out on a chip that gets drawn out of the bag. By the way, John also has a dog. His task today is he is going to have his regulars based here in the blockhouse at the river. The rest of his group are going to be coming down the road. They're going to be ambushed by my guys at some point. Thank you, John. My guys at some point, and they have to try to get at least 60% of their force back across the bridge to the base, and I'm going to try to prevent them. That dog, if a special chip for him comes out and my side have been sighted, he can take off, moving at 2d6, and as soon as he gets back to the base, John's regulars can be alerted and they can then cross the bridge if they choose to. So you've seen my Indians. I've also got a group of Coeur de Bois with an officer, French Marines with an officer, and a group of settlers without an officer. So small game, big table, should be plenty of movement, and we're hoping to get through the game and actually get a resolution today. So I'll fill you in a bit later. Bye. So we've just entered turn 2. We're all on the table. John's scouting units are heading back in. We've also decided John's got a dog, and that dog's going to run back when he can to tell the troops back at the base that we're on our way. The officer here is my only level 2 officer. We had 3 flags. He rolled on the movement table and he stepped in dog shit, apparently caused by that dog there. So he is now reduced to level 1 officer until he can get to the river, which is our only water source, to wash his shoe. So I required him as level 2 to be able to activate both units. So now I'm going to have a bit of trouble. My settlers are going to only be able to move on a post-tiffin. John's Indians are moving down a little bit further. My Indians have both arrived over on that corner as the scenario allowed. And John's guys have deployed, but they're still in here because we've deemed that they can't actually see my Indians yet. And the bear is moving closer to John's base, which could cause a little bit of problems later on. All right, back again. End of turn 3. We've just had Tiffin come out. We've used a few flags, still got a few flags there to be used, especially the British. My Indians crossed the river and they've attempted to make it to the door here to enter fisticuffs. Unfortunately, they had a little bit of shock, so they got caught short and copped some fire from the British in the blockhouse. My other Indians have come down to try to disrupt these guys getting back, intercept. My Coeur de Bois opened fire on these guys here, so I was trying really hard to break their column up and attack them piecemeal. It sort of worked, but each of my groups are a little bit smaller than theirs, than the British. So unfortunately, they didn't do any damage here. My Marines luckily put a fair bit of shock and 1 kill on the Scots, so they've been forced to turn to face. My officer, he stepped in dog poo, so he hasn't been able to move these guys, but that's okay because they're too close at the moment. Being irregular skirmishers, I want to wait until his guys are a bit further away before getting these guys to do their thing. John's officer here has also stepped in dog poo, so he is also a level 1. And these guys here have just had a bad thing, and they've got damped squib. So anytime they find out, it's going to be at half effect until they can find ammunition. Dry powder, which is going to be back at their base. So I'm managing to slow down their column to stop them getting back, but I really got to do a fair bit of damage at orchards, try to block them off from getting back. Yeah, it's exciting times. We've had a lot of odd things happening, which is always a great thing with sharp practice. And the bear is moving forever closer, slowly towards my Indians. Back at the game, getting towards the end now. My guys here have managed to cause a little bit of damage on the Scots. However, my Coeur de Bois, as you can see by these markers, got absolutely annihilated. And John's Rangers now, after clearing them up, are moving off to try to dispatch my settlers, which they should do pretty easy. They've just entered into fisticuffs and they're throwing tomahawks as they go. John's Indians here are making a dash for the bridge to try to relieve the camp. The blockhouse is still secure. My guys, the Indians here, have copped a heap of damage, a heap of shock, so they're unlikely to be really any better. My Indians here are doing okay, and they're just constantly trying to put fire onto these guys to stop them loading up shock. So they're going to have trouble moving now. So John's side had to get 60% of their scouting force over the bridge. So at the moment, it looks like I've held John up. We've only got about 10 minutes to play. It looks like I've probably held John up enough to possibly get the win. Who knows?
Yeah.
And there is Tiffin for our last round. We have to close up. We have to pack up before the shop closes. My Indians here popped a hammering with shock, but tied up these guys. So while they were keeping them under attack, they couldn't really... The British couldn't get to the bridge to put any pressure on my Indians here. My Indians managed to, at the last minute, put enough shock on these guys to force them into withdrawing. So they didn't go back across the bridge. They ended up being forced off the bridge there. Down this end of the table, I managed, luckily, the units that I put on here to start getting into John's flank and rear worked well. He ended up putting all 3 of his units here into trying to defend themselves rather than making their objective by going back. So I think we've agreed it's a win for the French today. Thank you, John. It was very good. Yeah,
Pleasure.
I copped a lot of hits and really had a lot more losses, and my my force morale was down to 5. John's remained at 8. We started at 10 and 9. But John's requirement to get across the bridge just didn't eventuate, because I think I put enough rearward pressure on him to force him to turn. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll be back again next week with possibly sharp practice, because we've both missed it so much over the break. See you then. Bye.